So you're looking at moving to Spain in the next 6 months. What do you need to consider? Well, the first thing is make sure your Spanish is getting there. You're at least doing probably 30 minutes a day, or even I'd say 15 minutes to be realistic for a lot of people, because there's going to be a lot of commotion going on, but you really need to commit to doing some Spanish every single day to get up to speed. You don't have to be fluent. That will actually happen here. Because you're speaking to people that speak Spanish and they'll help you along. At the same time, it's just much quicker. Because as soon as you start speaking to people locally, you pick it up faster. But one of the key things I would recommend is finding out what bank accounts you've got. Are you going to keep an account open in the UK? Do you have an address you can keep it to? Because that can be useful in Spain. Because when you set up your initial bank account, they need an address, etc. And using your original details means you can get it set up that day, because what they do is they open you a offshore, well, it's thanks. It's a expat account, which is basically bank account in your old address, which means you can get a bank account open, because you'll need that for paying bills, getting your rent and all that sort of stuff. So that's why the bank account's important. Also, you want to start hunting around to make sure you've got something set up for stuff you're going to bring over that you need. If you're buying or renting here, though, I do find that most places seem to be furnished. Although it often seems like 1985, but when you first move over, that's fine anyway. You're still finding your feet anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But it's worth finding out who's good, who's not, and just searching around, getting somebody to help you with the move across. That's an important thing. And if you're buying, finding people that you can rely on to help you find a property. Because one of the problems you have is nothing seems to happen quickly. What do I mean? Well, there's been a couple of properties we've had people interested in, and contacting even the real estate agents sometimes can take 3 or 4 days. Now, if you've come over for a week, found a property in the last 3 days, contacted a real estate agent or whatever, and then they take days to get back to you. You may already be back in the UK before they've even spoken to you. One of the things that can help you with that is if you find something online, for €20 an hour, I'll actually go there and video it for you. I'll do 360 video of the rooms, or video through the property. If I find anything that I'm not happy with, I'll tell you. You know, for example, I can see a cracked tile, or the water and everything's been switched off for some time. I'll let you know. I survey anyway. My actual job in the UK, my job title is actually surveyor. I've been doing surveying for, well, too long. So finding the property can be a pain. Rentals, especially in this area, getting a long-term rental can be difficult. So if you have got a property in here and it's been up for sale for ages, get in touch, because I could probably fill it with a long-term tenant, which is much better to get some money in on a regular basis than sitting there waiting for the holiday season. The reason I say that is there's new requirements related to renting here, and it's more geared towards the short-term rentals, where they'll want the standards raised up to as if it's a private rental, a commercial rental, with fire certificates and gas certificates and all this sort of stuff. But on the long-term rental side, they don't seem to bother too much. But I also find that money-wise, a lot of the long-term rentals work out the same as a short-term rental, because the properties are empty most of the time. If you know what I mean. Because if you rent out just in the peak seasons, so like 2 to 3 months of the year, you get a premium rent, but then the place sits empty the rest of the year. because long-term rentals generally don't want just 6 months, whatever. They want at least a year. So you sort of stop yourself getting those long-term tenants in that actually really want your place. So it is worth considering a long-term rental because it's hassle-free in many ways. Walking up these dunes today. Another key one is making sure you've got the right location where you want to live. Have you established any friends there? Because one of the things we have here is we already had a network of people we knew, which helped considerably in relocating. Also, if you need any paperwork or anything else processing, having somebody like myself that's already been through the process and can help you with doing yours can make life so much easier. Because if you don't, you're going to be looking at an area, if you haven't got any friends here, you're coming into a new country, they don't really speak English too much, and often don't like speaking English, either they do. But ultimately, a lot of this stuff could be done easier and quicker with using somebody like myself that doesn't overcharge. Some people do, some people throw you along for the next couple of years to make money off your back. I'm quite happy to name and shame people that do that sort of stuff because they're not helping anybody but themselves. The main reason I got into it is quite simply I got ripped off. Can't say it any other way. So you got somebody to help you with the paperwork, sorted your move out, sorted out your bank account, so you're going to keep a bank account, even if it's in a friend's address, if you can, if you're selling your home, just for the first few months at least, to get your banks and everything else set up here in Spain. Because once you've got it set up, you could close the account if you don't need it. I mean, the good thing about the UK is you don't really get charged on your bank accounts. Well, not these days, after all the court cases anyway. But here in Spain, they do charge for banking. And I'd say that's the main thing. Oh, and the car. Are you going to bring a car or buy a new car? Because I'd recommend buying it in Spain rather than the UK, because obviously the steering wheel's on the other side. But you need to consider that cars in Spain are expensive. Second-hand cars especially. They're way overpriced. Although the MOT is now a lot more lenient here, so I suppose it's 10 dozen of one and 5 of the other. Because I don't really get any hassles with mine. Seems to go through every MOT, yet I'm often repairing the thing. Oh, somebody's having a party. So that's the main things I would say, considering for the first 6 months on the run up to move into Spain. Thanks for watching.